But hey, AEW, they got a lot of stuff. Which here, let's do this one. AEW's
Oh,
got a
hey,
lot of
I
stuff.
like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I clicked the wrong button. AEW's got a lot of stuff in the works here. So AEW, this is according to the Wrestling Observer, and this is something that we've been kind of talking about for a while in like the the dark wrestling media sites, before it gets released, like our back channels. This is something that had been kind of theorized and some people knew about. Well, Dave talked about it in his Observer newsletter last week. It picked up a little bit more steam this week that AEW is set to have a brand split. And before it was going to be a soft brand split, meaning like there's probably only going to be a couple of people who aren't going to cross pollinate, but then everybody else would go back and forth. But it looks like AEW is setting up, they're gearing up to have two completely different rosters for an eventual Saturday show that is going to be kind of, the guy driving the ship there would be CM Punk, and then the Elite would be on Wednesdays. And they're going to have kind of two separate rosters. That's what the rumors are right now.
I don't hate this idea at all, right? And I think that there's a lot. I think the pessimism comes from where WWE handles their brand split, where it just gets, they don't have the discipline to make it work. Does Tony have the discipline to make it work? We don't know. They have the talent, they have the ability to do it. I don't think it's what's weird. There's so many weird coincidences to me because remember, Vince tried to do this in the early 2000s with WCW, right? And then their partners, specifically USA, didn't want to work, or Viacom, excuse me, not USA, Viacom didn't want to work with WCW. So that killed that. It's fascinating to me that on the surface, this should be Ring of Honor, right? But again, the media partner doesn't want to do that prestige branding, right? Well, what makes sense to us fans doesn't necessarily make sense to dollars and cents guys. So I find that the history repeating itself thing to be very, very fascinating. But it has been interesting. This has been tried throughout the course of wrestling. We saw it in USWA, right? They had the Texas and the Tennessee. Georgia and Atlanta, right, with Crockett was a thing for a long time, and that worked better actually than Crockett Watts. That thing together worked. I think that they have the roster. Like essentially, WWF had hard brand split. Essentially, they didn't call it a brand split, but they were running three crews in the 80s and 90s, where they basically had people that never really saw each other, and they didn't have a lot of pay-per-views until the late 90s. So you could work for the same company and never really see people you work with. So this isn't like unheard of, right? I think with the amount of talent they have and with the amount of things I hear about how AEW doesn't follow up with everything, because it's so weird. It's like, well, they can't follow. You're mad because you don't follow things up, but you're mad that this guy isn't on the show this week. You can't do both, right? You don't have enough time to do both with the roster they have. So in my mind, a split roster could work. Now, is it gonna? That's a different conversation.
Yeah, a split roster could work if they do it properly. I don't see the Saturday show doing great numbers compared to the Wednesday show, so I think that one's always going to be invariably seen as the B show, which is what SmackDown forever kind of had that, and now it's flopped the other way to where Raw is kind of the B show because SmackDown's on Big Fox, right? So I think that, but I don't think that they should worry about one show being seen as the B show versus the other one. I don't really think that really all that matters. I think it's a good thing in the sense that all the people that we've been complaining about not getting enough TV time are going to have those opportunities to get more TV time. But herein lies the problem: is can Tony stay disciplined when he starts to see like, hey, look, Wednesday doesn't have CM Punk, but Saturday does. So I'm not going to watch on Wednesday. I'm going to watch on Saturday. Or, hey, the Elite's not on Saturday. They're only on Wednesday. So I'm not, you're going to have some of that. Not a ton, because AEW fans they're pretty invested in the success of the company. And you're going to have like a good 500,000 to 600,000 people watch no matter what night it's on, except for Rampage, which nobody watches right now. But so you're going to have that core audience that's going to go back, that's going to watch both of them no matter what. They have decided that living life outside isn't as important as supporting AEW. So they're going to do that no matter what. But you're going to have people kind of picking and choosing. I think that's okay as long as you get more money. But I think inevitably the ratings are going to slip a little bit. And, if they do, can Tony be like, okay, look, we got to bring Punk onto Wednesdays because the Wednesday show is dipping now. It's like, oh shit, we gotta send the Elite to Saturday because the Saturday shows are gonna dip, and the attendance is gonna dip. You know what I mean? Like I think that's going to happen, and that's what Vince always did, right? When he'd pull the trigger, every time something would happen and the ratings would dip, he would just start sending people to both shows.
Well, it's Vince because Vince had no discipline when it came to the roster split. Like it did work at first. That first
Yeah.
year plus with Raw SmackDown, it was fine, and they were
Right.
good TV. Like people like reminisce about the SmackDown 6 era. In my humble opinion, the last pretty good era of WWE TV before recently. Right?
Right.
I'm of the mind that it can only work, and this is different. This isn't predicated on we just want to drive numbers. This is actually predicated on personality clashes. So they have to be disciplined about it, at least initially. If we're to believe this is real. Like, I don't know if where this is going to stand. Like we talk about ratings slipping. The reality is the ratings for everything will slip and will continue to slip invariably because ratings for everything continue to drop. The only
Right.
thing on television that's up year over year is Raw. That's it. Nothing
Mhm.
else on television is moving up. And kudos to WWE. They've been disciplined for a good year about getting their ship in line. Before that, they had a 20-year trend of slipping ratings. So
Mhm.
they are the only thing in television to buck the trend, which is what hurts with AEW because that's the comparison. So will the ratings slip? Yes, ratings will continue to slip no matter what they do. That being said, can you stay ahead of or at least within the top 5 of cable television for your night? Because if you are, then you won. Then you're winning. All we talk about is the perception is does now what do you care more about? Do you care about making your partner happy? Do you care about what some nerd with a Twitter handle that's paying $8 a month so he has his blue check thinks about it?
Yeah. I feel like you're talking about somebody specifically.
No,
Oh, okay.
I could be. Is there anyone specific? I was like, you dropped
No,
yours. I would just say it. I would just pick on you
no,
about it.
no, no, no.
But like,
I did that the first month. Well, no. So, you know, you can't listen to the Dangors of Twitter, right?
Dan
And
Gore lost his blue check, so that's why I didn't know we were going with that.
oh, okay.
I'll
I
shit on
thought he
him
still
later.
I thought he
No,
still had the blue check, so I thought we were going in on Dangor.
no, I'm sure that's his
But
parents for some money, and they'll pay for it.
yeah, I mean, I do. I absolutely fully believe that his parents are paying his Twitter bill whenever that does come back up.
Mm-hmm.
So with that topic, with the brand split, CM Punk and Jericho apparently had a meeting that was being mediated by FTR earlier in the week to try to smooth things over because CM Punk called Jericho a stooge, thinking that maybe it was Jericho that spilled the beans on the whole Punk threatening a lawsuit and yada, or talking to lawyers and saying he wasn't going to show up and yada yada yada. And we all know for a fact that it wasn't Jericho. Jericho's not that stupid. He told somebody else to tell Dave. So, but so I guess they had a meeting. It looks like they smoothed things over. It appears, we're hearing from a lot of different places. It appears that they might actually be working together whenever Punk comes back. So, it looks like we might have a Punk and Jericho Appreciation Society and FTR branded Saturday night show with Elite and Moxley, BCC and the Elite on Wednesday.
But, yeah, okay, sign me up. I like the way this sounds. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the Saturday show has good talent. You have CM
Mhm.
Punk and Chris Jericho. Like, okay, have I seen that feud before? Yes, it's been a decade. Watch it again,
Right.
see what they can do now. They're both in much different places, and I think Jericho is positioned as a company leader, and he's doing what he feels. Say what you want about Chris Jericho, he will always do what he feels will help the company always, constantly.
Mhm.
And he's going to be the one. I'm going to swallow it. I'm going to go work with CM Punk. Right? I'm going to
Yeah.
show this can be done. And kudos to him on that. I know we don't like how he votes, so he's a bad guy, but like this
You
is
know what?
reality.
If you're one of those people
You're
that
a
hates
dork.
Chris Jericho because he's a Republican, you are a loser and you're a part of the problem and not part of the solution, right? JD and I vote differently than Chris Jericho, but guess
Correct.
what? You know what? I ain't got no hate for Chris Jericho because he doesn't vote for the same people as I am. You're part of the problem in this country, you're not part of the solution. You're being an asshole.
Agreed, and it's the same thing with wrestling fandom. Like it's these people that like we talk that we're shit on Dangor. I'll shit on Dangor a little bit. These people that like love the Undertaker walking on the ropes, but a Mexican guy does it, then you're going to post on gifs of gymnastics routines. It's like, oh, that's
Right.
racist as all hell. Like you
Yeah.
don't. I get you don't understand lucha, but like doing stuff like that, oh, you're a turd.
Yeah.
Wallowing your turdliness. Like the tribalism, especially that is so magnified and fed online. The algorithm loves tribalism, right?
Hmm.
So we get inundated with it. And I give CM Punk and Chris Jericho a lot of credit for being able to say, okay, we're clearly different people. We might not like each other, but we have to go and work. We have to make this work, right? I work at a school. I don't get along with everybody. I don't vote the same way as everybody does in my building. I live in a county currently where I may be the only liberal in the county, my wife and I. It's entirely possible. So I don't talk about how I vote because I'd like to get to work with my tires in one shape. It's filled up every day. But that's just, I mean, like, you're right. This is the problem we have is like everyone's so like tribal and they get mad about things. Like people are allowed to have different opinions and people are allowed to have stupid opinions too, as long as they don't hurt
Yeah.
anybody. Right.
Right. And just because they vote differently than you, that doesn't mean that they're not irredeemable, right? They're not going to hurt you, right? They're
Right.
not they're not going to attack you. It's like, come on. Like dude, I grew up in a trailer. Do you think maybe I might been one of the very few liberals in the trailer park, right? Like I am one of very few people that thought a certain way. But guess what? I still love the people that I grew up with. I love my family members. I'm not going to treat them differently because they believe differently in me. I'm not an idiot.
No, and there are people. There comes a point when you have people in your life who might think a certain way, and they push you to a certain spot where you cannot have relationships with them anymore.
Yes.
And that is like stuff like that goes beyond your political beliefs or what you think about everything, and it gets to something much more personal, right? And
Mhm.
those issues are not as simple as I vote X, you vote Y,
Right.
right? Do I think Chris Jericho sounds like a dipshit when he talks about politics? Absolutely. Is he going to keep doing it and make a lot of money? Yeah. you know, do I enjoy watching on Wednesday nights? Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Will I continue to do so? Absolutely. So
Yeah. But
I'm a fan of this. I think this is great. I think we need more people. I think we need more people willing to say that guy is a complete asshole. I can make money with him if we just
mhm,
shut the fuck up for 2 minutes. Sorry, Garrett.
yeah. And for all the people that want to say whatever they want to say about Chris Jericho, yeah, he's a company guy. He's gonna swallow the ego and the pride a little bit, and he's gonna make a little bit of money. He's gonna try to make the company better. He's willing to reach across the aisle and olive branch somebody that was absolutely rude to him. That gives kudos to him for that.
Yeah.
And when Rick Steiner attacked Giselle Shaw, who was one of the most famous guy, the most famous veteran from the 90s to come out and in her defense. It was Jericho,
Jericho.
right? A lot of people don't have those kind of guts, and Jericho does, and he came to her defense big time.
Mm-hmm.
So you say what you want about his voting record, but I'm here to tell you it's very likely, all his years in the business and the fact that he keeps getting employed and all these people seem to like him, he might be a nice guy despite his voting record. He might
Mm-hmm.
very well be a good person.
And to you phonies that say, well, I just don't like him on TV. He ruins everything he's in. Every time I go to a show, people be singing Judas.
Yep.
Dude
Yep.
sells a lot of t-shirts. So don't lie to yourself.
It's not him, it's you.
Mhm.
Yeah.